Hello, people. Get ready, here it comes. We're going to play a little music for a couple minutes, let people join in. We're streaming tonight on Facebook Live, and YouTube. Super Chat. Duke1517 on YouTube. And here on Facebook, 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead. Share it out. Share this out. Let people know what's going on. This one you don't want to miss. Thought the other three were good. They just keep on getting better, like a fine wine. Never serve it before it's time.
That's right. Everything has its moment. Everything has its time. And tonight, truth's coming to light.
Another minute here. So, yep, one more minute, and we're gonna be starting the show.
Welcome, everyone, to A Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight, I'm going to be bringing you information that is going to enlighten you as to what's been going on in the head of one Paloma Zúñiga de Lint, otherwise known as Paloma for Trump. This self-titled celebrity slash influencer slash political activist has been plotting, has been scheming, has been planning in conjunction with others schemes which I have recently been uncovering for you. Now, I may not have laid it out exactly as I'm laying it out for you right now. Many of you might have wondered, why is Cindy talking about this again? She hadn't been talking about this for a very long time. There's reasons. There's always reasons, and sometimes I can't reveal what those reasons are, but all in due time. What you need to know is that there are many court proceedings against Paloma. And what has been this woman's MO? First of all, let me remind you, she's not an American resident. She doesn't live in the United States of America. She does not live here. She lives in Tijuana, Mexico. So she has been abusing our court system to take swipes at, to be a nuisance to American citizens, all of them conservatives, Trump supporters, conservatives. She has been attacking, stalking, defrauding, bullying on social media, in person, through third parties for years. She goes through one person, then another, then another, then another. She burns one bridge here and goes on to burn another one. She holds on to the next raft, the next victim, as if they were a lifeboat to get her out of the shockwaves of the last explosion, of the last relationship, of the last group, organization, spokesperson ship that she blew up and destroyed. She doesn't even speak English correctly. She doesn't even understand how to speak English correctly. Hence the title of tonight's show, Intellectual Actor. You might have heard her use this phrase most recently on a rant that she went on shortly before we aired tonight. In it, the cracks begin to show. The cracks in her plan and how it all went to hell. How the plotting and planning in her desperate attempt to gather what she considers some kind of evidence to substantiate the lies that she has made in court time and time again. Because in truth, she has no evidence. She has nothing on which to sustain the multitude of lies that she has told in court. And in her attempt to gather some kind of anything at all, she went on a very complicated, lengthy, multi-month plot to try to set people up that she has upcoming court dates, to try to figure out a way to make the lies she's told in court be true by the time she has to go back into court. And a lot of those court dates, they're coming due. They are coming due. So, of course, she has to find a way of explaining it all. And what she has said is that there are people behind my shows. I'm not a journalist with the radio station. I don't have a program or a history of being a reporter. I have not investigated the case of this woman and her activities for their own merit. No. She wants you and she wants the courts to believe there is someone behind me, a mastermind that pays me, that thinks up the plan on what to say and what to do against her. And she calls that person an intellectual actor. That's because in Spanish, the word for mastermind is autor intelectual. But she didn't hear it correctly. She grew up thinking that actor intelectual was what she heard for mastermind. And if you listen in Spanish, both of those phrases are very similar. Autor, actor. You see how similar they are? And pendeja thought it must be actor because actor means actor. And she's a failed actress. So that's probably what the correct phrase is. But actually, the translation for mastermind in Spanish is autor, pendeja. So in English, she means to say mastermind when she is saying intellectual actor. That's what she's trying to portray to the world. That there are people that are making me do this, that are telling me to do this, that control what I say and what I do. And they have motives because they have court cases with her. So tonight I'm going to get into those upcoming court cases. I'm going to bring you the very latest on the most bizarre request for restraining order yet. And you've seen plenty of them. I've broken other restraining order requests by Paloma to you on my program, and they were filled with incoherent, crazy allegations and insanity. And this one is over the top. This one is probably 10 times worse than the previous ones that you've seen before. The kinds of things that she says are really off the chain crazy. So I'm going to break that down for you, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background. This woman has so many different court cases and has restraining orders that prohibit her not only from continuing to harass and threaten and stalk certain individuals. She knows exactly who has restraining orders against her. They prohibit her from speaking about them on social media. So when you read her posts and she says a name for someone, she uses some kind of name like Shapir No, or the Brazilian witch, or Chandelier, the 60-year-old lady with everything that has nothing. She is using a nickname. She's using a nickname because she is legally prohibited from mentioning certain people's names. But that doesn't mean that every time that she goes ahead and makes a new video talking about these individuals, that she isn't violating the law, that she isn't violating those restraining orders, because she is. And she thinks that she can outrun the law by simply continuing court cases over and over again with bogus excuses of injuries, of doctors' excuses, of other engagements, and simply being a no-show. She laughs and mocks at our justice system when she does these things, but she does them with impunity because she doesn't live here, because she is in Mexico, where American justice cannot reach. So she knows that she can come across the border and, like a sniper, put in a request for a restraining order here, there, and everywhere, that she can make outrageous claims and threats over the internet and through third parties, and then hide under the little rock where she lives so that she doesn't have to pay any consequences for her actions. However, even though the wheels of justice are slow to turn, and she is very slippery and she is very sneaky, there is still a day of reckoning. It is coming. In many court cases, the pandemic held up a lot of these court cases. They had to be rescheduled, but they are back on like Donkey Kong. So, lots more to come. Tonight's show is going to be very revealing. Get your snacks, get your popcorn, get your drink, sit down. We got a lot of work to do. Duke, tell folks how they can support our programming and send us information.
That's right. It's a doozy tonight. We have several places you can go. We're streaming right now on YouTube. The channel is Duke1517. And we're also streaming on Facebook at 88.1 FM Fargo-Moorhead. We have a website, kpppfm.com. You can go there and look at our history, our programming, our radio station content, Mexican Crossing Lines show, all the videos there. Also, if you'd like to make a tax-deductible contribution to our nonprofit that runs this station, you can go to kpppfm.com/donate and make a donation. And also on Super Chat, you can just hit that money sign down there and make a contribution tonight. In fact, Christina Haviland made a contribution, and she says, keep up the good work, and thank you very much for that contribution. You can also get a hold of us by email. There's Cindy at kpppfm.com and me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. And we have a message line if you'd like to call in and just leave a voicemail message for us. You can call 701-566-0917. That's 701-566-0917. So the award goes to...
The intellectual actor.
The intellectual actor.
Let us start by playing the video clip of her talking about this intellectual actor. It's intellectual author, if she was translating correctly. And, of course, who she is blaming for my research and reporting. Take a listen for yourselves. Here she is.
You know, I mean, one of the women that attacks me viciously, constantly, which I'm sure she won't for very long, she complains about America, right? She complains about America. This is a woman that would be literally in a really different situation. And if she would have been born, you know, just a little bit further south, where she would most likely would have been born, right? She was blessed to be born in America, and she complains about it, okay? And she wants to turn it into Mexico again. And she wants to, you know, abolish Trump. And so, you know, she can't find the positive. I mean, it's no wonder her life is where it is, where it has been, where it has always been, and why she attacks me all day long. You know, sometimes she does it publicly, but she also does it a lot privately, from what I understand. She's also one of the main intellectual actors behind some of these pages, if not all of them. And because as tough as she is on the screen, or tries to be, or pretends to be, or as smart as she pretends to be, she's also the founding member, one of the founding members of these secret groups, hate groups, these secret online gang stalking hate groups that are created against me by people who later go to courts and claim to be victims, right? Thank God they've been
Yeah. In her brain, see, this is a person that thinks that if she says something on a video or commits it to a post or sends it in a text or manipulates words on paper, that makes it true.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And the fact that she tells you in that little video clip that I am the intellectual actor, she means the mastermind. She means intellectual author. She's basically simultaneously saying now in that video you just saw that I am planning all of this stuff against her. But that is something that she's been saying that Oscar and Anthony have been planning against her. And here is a video clip in which she accuses them of being the intellectual authors, the masterminds behind my program.
Fat woman who calls herself a Mexican, absolute nobody, is making another shit show about me, as always, for Oscar El Blue and Anthony Agüero. They're trying to, once again, sorry, watching a movie, oh my God, I just got done eating dinner. So as I open up my my messenger right now, I got a notification that this fat woman is at it again. Again, she's just looking for attention. She's just looking for money. And more than anything, really, she's looking to discredit me because she's so far up Oscar Blue's butt that she wants to help him in any way possible, deflect basically from from the fact that he's been scamming American patriots for a year and a half since we started covering the stuff at the border out here. He came out of nowhere, even though the caravans have been around for years, and so he's always trying to discredit me because he's terrified of me exposing all the fraud he does, his prostitution, his theft, everything that he does, right? Like, the guy's disgusting. So what he does is he tries to dig into my personal life, and things that have no relationship to the movement or to anything related to my page, such as people I lived with 2 years ago, that has nothing to do with anything. They twist everything, they edit everything, they translate everything in the ways just that to make it seem like they want it to sound, because in the end, Oscar is pissed off that one of his mistresses that he scammed for an entire year, making her believe that he was single and making her believe that he was going to marry her and have a child with her. She reached out to me when she saw all they were doing to me back August last year and how they were slandering me. So she reached out to me and communicated with me for 6 months, sending me audios, voicemails, photos, and everything of him, so I could defend myself, and not so much defend myself, but expose him for the liar that he actually is. And so they stalk everything I do. They threaten people to come on the show. I know they threatened my friend in Florida to come on on her shit show, on her program. I call it a shit show. They threatened my friend in Florida. They threatened my friend in LA. They've been threatening people to come up and talk against me. And even some of them have come with a hidden identity, disguising their voice and covering their image, only because it's not so much that they're afraid or anything. What it really is that, I just ate some really hot stuff, sorry. What it really is that they know what they're saying is not true. So they have to hide their identity, okay? So anyway, I'm going to finish watching my movie and just ate, and then I don't know that I'm going to watch her entire shit show because it's...
Yeah.
Okay. So clearly she is blaming Oscar and Anthony for being the masterminds behind my show. Bendaha for Trump comments, she claims there's a woman that never shows her face, doesn't post anywhere, but she's mentioned by other people. So she must be deeply involved behind the scenes. Therefore, she's the culprit too. Yes, she did say that in her most recent rant on a live feed right before the show, the one I was mentioning. She was talking about someone she's not allowed to name. That's why she won't say the name of that person, because she knows it would be yet another violation. But that video she made, not mentioning the person she's not supposed to mentioning, but talking about her, is still a violation. Also, by the way, Pendaja for Trump, stick around. You might see your name in some court papers. John Leone, thanks for being with us on the show tonight. In the comments, John quotes, I think this is a quote. I guess he's speaking as Paloma. Hey guys, stalking is a felony. I got 4 restraining orders in 4 states for stalking people who say no to me. Yeah, she would know, right? Because she has all of the restraining orders. Mm-hmm. So folks, notice a couple of things. Let's notice a couple of things. One, ever since she got served in El Paso, in Washington, and other places, she stopped telling people when she was going to be making appearances. Here she is, supposedly a political activist, a paid speaker at these events. She's an influencer, and she doesn't promote anything she's going to be working on or anywhere she will appear. And the reason for that is because she doesn't want to get served. She doesn't want to be found. She doesn't want to be arrested. She doesn't want people to know where she's going to be, because there are a lot of legal actions proceeding, and she wants to hide from them. She comes into this country like a sniper, does things, and then goes back to her hidey hole in Tijuana. And I want to show you another clip. This one is a screen capture of Oscar's voice, where he's claiming that the video that you're about to hear a clip from is coming from Oscar El Blue Ramirez of Border Network News. He is a reporter, and he has the platforms Border Network News with Anthony Agüero, and he's also working with America's Voice News. This reporter has appeared on my show as a reporter reporting from Mexico, but he's also been one of the people that had the unfortunate event of, running into Paloma along with Anthony, and that has been attacked mercilessly by this woman since then. This video clip, you will hear her say that I am nothing more than a representation of Oscar and his voice. That's what I do this for. It's not to expose everything that she does. It's not to document it for all of posterity and for the many court cases proceeding against her. It's not to show the contradictions, the lies. It's not to translate audios that most Americans wouldn't understand and wouldn't get to hear, but for the fact that they were leaked to me, and expose exactly who and what this woman is to the world. It's because Oscar pays me. That's what she claims. I'm just Oscar's voice. I'm just Oscar's puppet. This is her, in her own words, saying that.
No, Oscar is not man enough to fight his own battles. You're absolutely right, Baldy. Thank you for that. He's not. We know that this woman is really, all she really is Oscar El Blue's voice. That's really all she is. And they've eaten their pride to a point.
Right. So, who is behind the Jimena Sanchez attacks? Who put her up to that? What about all of the people that you were attacking and harassing and bullying prior to ever meeting Anthony or Oscar or Mary? Because this person, Paloma for Trump, has a long history of years and years of harassing and stalking and using our legal system, mocking our legal system. She claims to be a political activist, but during the entire past year, she has been singularly focused not on promoting the candidate that she has named herself after, the president of these United States, who is quickly approaching an election here. No, she has focused like a laser beam on attacking people that do promote the president, people that do report on what the president is doing, people that are conservatives in this country, living in this country, abiding by the laws of this country, which she does not do. So this is the post that she made talking about all of these different people that in her paranoid and delusional mind are all working together in a plot against her, this master plot, because, of course, she's such an important addition to America, because she gives so much to this beautiful country that she calls herself a dual citizen of, right? She's doing so much for the president right now. She's doing so much for conservatives. She's doing so much for the conservative movement, right? This is what she posted. I swear, someday we'll have to write a book on her sad but hilarious telenovela. And she will take one of lead characters as Detective Tamales. Then we'll have the two border Tijuana, El Paso hookers. She is publishing, just for the record here, I want to make sure you take note of the fact that she is referring to Oscar El Blue Ramirez, which is pictured in the meme, the distorted photograph that she made of Duke and I and Oscar. And she's calling them hookers. She is saying that they engage in the criminal, in most places, it's a crime, activity of taking money for sex. Then she says, the still waiting astronaut. She there is again referring to that woman that she claims she doesn't want to name, that she claims she does not supposed to name, Fabiana Baldo. And the reason for that is because Fabiana is a very accomplished, and among the many things that she is, besides being a gorgeous model and a student of medicine, she's also a pilot. So she likes to make fun of those things about the people that she attacks that she cannot achieve. In the case of Oscar and Anthony, she's very covetous of their large platforms and their many followers, and of the fact that people want to fund them, that people want to invest in them, that people want to promote them and help them. She's sore about that. But you have to understand, Paloma, the fact that I have a super chat on my YouTube, the fact that Oscar has the ability to do that, the fact that Anthony has a lot of followers, the fact that people have donated to funds to send them to the Guatemalan border to report on the caravans, and nobody would ever do that for you, is because they are accountable to the laws in the United States. We're all accountable. We all had to have our accounts, our bank accounts verified, our identities verified, and we have to be accountable, literally, to the companies through the platforms that we are monetizing. If you're not willing to give all of your information over to Uncle Sam, you can't monetize on your YouTube. That's why you can't monetize. Why don't you tell the truth? You can't monetize because you don't want Uncle Sam to know nothing about you. All you got to do is tell Uncle Sam all of your information. Give him all your information about your bank account, and you could be doing what they're doing. But then you would have to be accountable to the IRS, to Uncle Sam.
Yep.
And that is where she will part ways. She would rather just make attacks, jealous attacks on social media. She says the perv who is still be, oh my gosh, you can't speak English. Yeah. The perv who will still be fighting to retain his house. There she's talking about someone else that has a restraining order against her, Michael Shapiro. If in America at all, the LA call girl, the animal sacrificer, the broke, rich old lady, the solo cholo, aka Josh, Methany, and everyone steals from me. Nobody loves me. Gonna break everything, viejito. So she is describing each one of these sentences. Solo cholo, aka Josh, Methany, and everyone steals from me. Nobody loves me. Gonna break everything, viejito. All of these are persons she has personally been attacking. All of these are people that she has stalked, They refer to people that have court cases against her and people that have had the courage to appear as witnesses of what she does on my show. She goes on about this fake book that she claims she's going to make. We will make it the best and funniest bestseller, smart and well written, with real brains. Unlike licenciada attorney Tamales, we won't tamales to go get some cheap lobster, and they can always sue us in Mexico. She says jokingly, but not jokingly, you can sue me in Mexico, because that's exactly what she thinks people would have to do in order to sue her. Except there are court cases proceeding in this country against her. She has had to appear, and you know what? As long as she keeps running, as long as she keeps hiding, she thinks that she can avoid the inevitable, which is that come to Jesus moment when the final gavel falls and the judge makes a decision. But let me tell you, that day will be coming, and people will learn that the person behind all of this evil in all these different cases was you. You were the intellectual author. You were the mastermind behind the plot that took you down. Just so you know, I'm trying to help you out with your English here. El autor intelectual is what the phrase for mastermind in Spanish is. Él era el autor intelectual detrás de Tijuana. He was the mastermind behind Tijuana. Entonces, el jefe de los intermediarios, hasta que podamos encontrar pruebas contra el autor intelectual. Then, the middleman's boss, until we can find evidence against the mastermind. El informe señala al mayor Roberto D'Aubuisson como el autor intelectual del crimen. The report pointed to Major Robert D'Aubuisson as the intellectual author of the crime. That is how you translate intellectual author, not actor. And let me show you the kind of serial harasser she is. I've brought this up on many other shows, but just for a reminder, here's from the page Clapback Season, this long list of many cases of people that she has stalked or harassed or bullied. Many of them in Los Angeles, but some also in San Diego and some in New York. And this is not even all of the cases against her. Veronica Rodriguez versus Paloma. Jimena Sanchez versus Paloma. Mackenzie Strickland versus Paloma. Public Storage Inc. versus Paloma. Terry Ojeda versus Paloma. Michael Shapiro versus Paloma. Fabiana Baldo versus Paloma. Mary Tando Quintanilla versus Paloma. But to hear her tell it, she never had any problems before. First time she was dragged into court was last year. It was the first time ever. She doesn't have no problems.
No, she has a perfect criminal record. I heard her say that the other night. Perfect criminal record. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Just like you have a perfect record, you don't have a criminal record. But she has a perfect criminal record.
She has a perfect criminal record. That's what she said. Mm-hmm. This is an audio of her talking about how she claims that I was recruited by Oscar and Anthony. Take a listen.
Hey guys, so I have an important interview today, but as soon as I am done, I am going to go live, and because I keep hearing that this is becoming like a soap opera, and this is probably what they want because they really don't have anything else. However, slander is always a really bad thing. Think of what they've done to Trump with slander and with all kinds of things. So it's always good to expose the truth. It's always good to come forward
and show both sides of a story, as much as people say, oh, it's a waste of time, don't give your haters any time, whatever. As you all know, there's a woman that calls herself a Mexican out of North Dakota, who Oscar L. Blue, deported drug trafficking felon Oscar L. Blue, basically recruited to come after me last year, right? As you all know, she's been vicious in coming after me, because we have figured out that this is pretty much a business to Oscar L. Blue and Anthony Agüero. So they're concerned about their image as far as people donating to them and everything else. So they've tried to shut me up over the last year. And one of Oscar's mistresses contacted me last year, very hurt, wanting to get a message out to other women so that he wouldn't abuse them the way he abused her. She provided me with hundreds of audios and voicemails and videos or whatever, showing me how he really is, and everything else. So she's been contacting me for the last 6 months. Apparently, I don't know why, 2 weeks ago, she started saying that Oscar was threatening her, that he was sending people to her house coming after her. I don't know if this is true. She told me, I don't want to do this anymore. Apparently for months she was sending him messages, attacking him, and he wouldn't even respond, but he wouldn't block her, which we know is very unlikely of Oscar, because he blocks anybody that he feels attacked by. We all know he has a very short fuse, mecha corta. He can't take anything. He starts going crazy over one thing. I don't know if you guys missed the public freakout he had in El Paso, Texas, when he originally crossed, claiming he was an essential worker, which he is not. He's a tourist. But when he was questioned about how he was able to get through the border as an official, as a tourist, he claimed that he was an essential worker, which we all know can't be true from a tourist. Oscar Blue is not an essential worker in America. So apparently he lied to DHS and whatever else. So they've been very, 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 very persistent in trying to shut me up, because I expose them and I expose the truth, and discrediting me and slandering me and attacking me and bullying me and stalking me and intimidating me and threatening me is all they have left.
Okay, so let me break something down for you. Paloma became viral, I would say infamously so, for pushing a migrant child at the border. She would say famously so. And after this happened, she lost her platform because she was using it to bully and harass a multitude of people. Her pages got reported and her pages got shut down. She couldn't get him back. She had so many strikes against her, she couldn't get them back. So she licked her wounds and started looking for someone to glom onto to get her mojo back, to get a following going. And she saw Oscar and she saw Anthony. She went and she cloaked herself with their supporters and their following. She made herself adjacent to them, even making videos where she would say that anybody attacking Oscar would be attacking her, even though no one had a beef with Oscar or Anthony. She began telling Oscar and Anthony that the Brazilian witch was going to try to mind control them from afar, and they should be very careful. They thought she was merely being a nut job and ignored her. She continued to insist that they needed to watch out because sooner or later the Brazilian witch was going to control their mind. And then she tried to get Oscar and Anthony involved in her personal attacks and bullying of Amy and Melinda, two women from San Diego who also were covering live streams of the caravans. Now, once Oscar and Anthony realized that this Paloma woman, her only goal, because she doesn't know how to report on anything, she doesn't actually provide good information, she doesn't have the skills or the wherewithal to prepare a report or to deliver it. Her value to a platform or a team of people doing that kind of work was zero. So what happened was they realized that she was just there to try to take a ride on their coattails and get them involved in her bullying. She wanted to use them as her trunk monkeys. They said no. They told her she was immature. They tried to walk away in a gentlemanlike fashion. But that is not how Paloma rolls. If you reject Paloma, she will become obsessed with revenge. And that is exactly what happened. In this post, you'll see that she talks about the fake pages, all the fake pages, which are pages made to mock Paloma by a variety of different people. She attributes them all to Oscar and Anthony. Anthony Agüero and Oscar El Blue making fake pages and fake Twitter accounts to attack me because between the two of you combined, you can do half of what I have done. Half. Have some courage, manlets. Stop hiding behind two women. Hashtag sad. Hashtag shameful.
Yeah, that's.
She likes to try to get to the men.
Yeah, she tries to get to the men, but it's like some of us are like, that stuff just bounces off, We have a fan on YouTube called Meatball for Trump. And Meatball, thank you, Meatball, for making a contribution to our work. Paloma has many enemies, and these shows help. The donations will show our appreciation. Thank you. Well, thank you, Meatball for Trump. We really appreciate it.
And I want to just say that she just made a video in which she claimed that the fake pages were attributable to me.
That's right. It's a moving target at all times.
Right? She says it's Oscar and Anthony. She also says it's me. And she also says it's Mary, who she has court with coming up real soon. Take a look at this from the restraining order she attempted to file. And before you show this next filing, in which, by the way, she claims that Mary is going to make her go bald by 2020, by the end of this year. Yeah, she really said that.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on to your hats. It's going to get crazy in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This woman recently went to the court to ask for an ex parte hearing against Mary Tando. Do you guys remember what I told you an ex parte hearing is? Do you remember, Duke?
Sort of.
What's ex parte? Do you remember?
No.
Okay, ex parte is when you ask for an emergency hearing without both parties being present. And the reason that you are asking for the other person not to be notified that there's going to be a hearing to make a decision about whether or not a restraining order is placed upon them is because they pose such an immediate threat to your life that you need for the judge to grant this request for a restraining order without a hearing, without that person even being told. She did it while Mary was in England, and she did it again just the other day. And like most of the other requests for ex parte hearings and most of her other requests for restraining orders, which are bogus, nuisance, forms of harassment that she uses to attack American citizens while she goes and hides back in her hidey hole under the rock in Tijuana, was denied. But the judge did say he will hear her ridiculous request for a restraining order against Mary on the day that Mary already has her court, which again is coming up very soon, like around the corner. So this is what she has alleged, among other things, in this ridiculous request. Here is the threat that she says was made against her. The question to be answered is, did the person in number 2, which is Mary Tando Quintanilla, use or threaten to use a gun or any other weapon? And she says, yes. She answers yes to this question. Look at how ridiculous this woman is. She answers yes to the question of a use or threat of use of a weapon or a gun. Was there a threat of the use of a weapon or of a gun? And she answers yes. What is this weapon that she is referring to here? Her response is, has threatened she will make me go bald by the end of the year 2020. So what does that mean? That in response to the question about whether a weapon was used or threatened, which you said yes to, your response is that she threatened that you would go bald. What are you thinking the weapon of choice here is? Her magic witch rays or what? Or does she not understand English? ¿Haces, eres o te haces pendeja? Which is it? Are you completely unable to read English? I mean, I know that you are limited in your English understanding, hence the title of my show. But that's pretty clear. I mean, it does make it very clear they're asking about a...
Unless you got a hair gun or something like that,
hair gun?
A hair gun, just...
How would the hair gun does it have rays that make your hair disappear and go bald? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to, and is this even a credible threat, even to her?
Yeah.
No, it's not, because she says in the very next sentence, that would be naturally impossible as I have very abundant hair. So she's like, I'm here to file a restraining order for my life. Remember, she requested an ex parte hearing, meaning that her life was in imminent danger. I demand a hearing so that I can be heard about this imminent danger. Was there a weapon used or threatened against you? Yes. Threatened to make me go bald.
But that's impossible because I have so much hair.
But that's impossible, of course. They threatened they would make me go bald, but nobody could make me go bald.
Wow.
So why are you wasting the court's time? This is not, if you're just tuning in, folks, you are not watching Monty Python. This is not a comedy show. This is real. These are filings. This is a publication made by Paloma Zúñiga. She published this information and made it a public record in a court in California. So the things that she says in here that she has published for everybody to see, these are the things that she is saying, not just about Mary, but other people. I want you to check out this next statement about the harassment. Number 2 on this same page says, were you harmed? Were you injured because of the harassment? And she says, yes. Once again, what was the injury? The threat of the weapon was some kind of witch gun that was going to make her go bald. And the injury was, according to this, she already had a severe ankle injury on the day that Mary Tando served her with a restraining order. And having been served with the restraining order only made her injure herself more. I had a severe ankle injury the day of her harassment against me, which due to the incident, I only injured myself more. Do you remember the show in which I showed you that Mary was not escorted off the premises, that Mary was not told by the police that she had to leave? Mm-hmm. She was even given advice about how to serve Paloma in the future. She also was wearing her usual, stiletto style giant ankle ankle crushing heels like there was no problem. So she is using the fact that she had an ankle brace on her ankle and the fact that she wore high heels that would have aggravated that injury. She's blaming all of that and any discomfort she had as a result of what she wore on her own feet and what she did by standing around gawking at Mary after she had left the event when it was over. And she put it in a restraining order request. Nonsensical, insane, but there it is. And that is just the tip of the iceberg of the crazy stuff she said. Let me remind you, before we go on, that she has attributed other pages that she says are really my accounts to attack her and stalk her and harass her. She has also attributed these fake pages to Oscar and Anthony, as I just showed you. But in the restraining order request, she says those are all Mary's pages. Take a look. I have been advised by the San Diego Police Department to file a civil harassment restraining order against Mary Elizabeth Quintanilla after having her physically removed from my rally in Chula Vista, California on January 18, 2020. Okay, first of all, no San Diego Police Department officer, nor did the San Diego Police Department advise you to go and waste the court's time and file a frivolous restraining order request against an American citizen while you snipe them from Tijuana. Nobody told you that, liar. That's a lie. Also, you didn't have her physically removed from your rally. First of all, it wasn't your rally. It was a conservative rally. And it was a Latino conservative rally. It was not your rally. And you didn't have anyone removed from anything. Next, she says, Ms. Quintanilla was removed by the private security company, safeguarding all of us speakers and organizers when they, Ms. Quintanilla, to be a credible threat to myself and others, having to call the police department to assist them after physically removing her from the event. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to show you some excerpts from the case that Mary Quintanilla had against Paloma, which, the request for previous request for a restraining order that Paloma had against Miss Quintanilla, which was dismissed, in which Paloma was told, no, none of this is real harassment. None of this is a credible threat of anything. And all of it was based on the same crap she is putting in this request for a restraining order. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is she didn't like the response. She didn't like the decision made by the previous judge. So she decided to file another request for a restraining order with basically the same exact complaint of fake harassment and fake witchcraft so that she can basically shop for a better verdict, for a different decision, hopefully from a different judge. She's judge shopping and court shopping. Unfortunately, all of the judges that you go to anywhere in America are going to be able to see through your crazy cuckoo nonsense. Anybody. It doesn't even take a judge or a police officer. Anybody can see that this is complete and utter nonsense. She tries to say that the private security company that was at the event, which didn't remove Mary Tando, considered her a credible threat and called the police. In the transcript of the previous case, which I have read completely, she clearly shows she was the one that called the police. She called, and there was an incident report that was logged because of the call that was made. But when the police arrived, police whose time she wasted, they did nothing but advise Mary on how she could serve Paloma in the future. That's it. I will show you in just a moment that when she tried to admit this police report into the record to prove that the private security company had to call over to the police station because Mary Tando Quintanilla represented a credible threat, was thrown out of the court because she redacted it. She tried to hide all of the information the judge needed to find out who actually made a call and what did the caller ask for and what was the response from the police department, because she didn't have any of that information included. So it got thrown out. She goes on to say, thankfully, I never came into contact with her, as she erratically moved around the venue for over 40 minutes, harassing guests and other speakers and physically putting a copy of a temporary restraining order that she petitioned against me very close to the faces for them to see and to show them not only that she had had a temporary restraining order granted, but also that according to her, I was a criminal, as she constantly states on her multiple Facebook pages, such as, here you go, these are all the pages that she says are attributable to Mary Tando Quintanilla. Not Anthony Agüero, not Oscar El Blue, not Cindy Gomez-Schempp. No, she says they're all Mary's pages. And the pages are Fraudloma for Trump, Pendaja for Trump, the Clapback Season, the John Leone Files, and then she just randomly throws in, among others. And also on her personal account.
Yep.
She doesn't prove any of the things she says. She doesn't have any proof of any of these things that she is saying. And when she went to court, and when she had court recently, the judge basically told her she didn't meet the burden. She didn't provide any evidence. She didn't have any witnesses. Oh, she brought things and people and text messages and voicemails, but they were not allowed in court because they do not meet the standard of evidence and proof required from the court. Usually, delusions, lies, and made up evidence are going to get thrown out by a judge. They can tell when you're making things up. So let's look at what else she says. She says here, witnesses at the event also described her as erratic and dangerous, stating she will try to physically hurt me if she cannot damage my reputation. During the event on January 18, she also filmed herself physically looking for me as I was inside a green room protected by security and other associates, in which video she was making fun of my physical appearance, my speech, my organization, its members, and my ideas, speech, etc., claiming I was an embarrassment, and posted it on social media for the public to see. She also provided a copy of this video of herself to a radio station owned by a woman named Cindy Gomez-Schempp, friend and collaborator of Anthony Agüero and Oscar El Blue, both felons and pro-Trump activists who constantly obtain money from their social media platforms, both which I expose for their fraudulent behavior. Duke, what did you think? That was a mouthful, but
Oh my God, it's so much lies, and we played all this stuff. We did a show on this, and she.
oh, the audience right
ignores-
now. The audience right now is the judge.
Yes.
She my audience already knows the truth. She thinks she's going to pull the wool over the judge's eyes with this one.
Yeah. It's pretty way out there, and the stuff she's just flinging and naming full names. I tell you.
And what is she saying? What she's saying about Oscar and the radio station? I mean,
Yeah, they're just fraudulent, and she's been investigating them and exposing their fraud and all that stuff. Is like she does nothing. She very seldom even can pull a text message off her phone or do anything to show any sort of evidence. And like as Cindy said, you can't just say, "Oh, I have this evidence," and it's time stamped. Is it authentic? Was it that person talking? How did you obtain this? None of that stuff she can do to actually put this stuff into the courts.
well, she claims somebody's going to be helping her with that, and she has unlimited memory on all of her phones. So
That's right, unlimited memory.
somehow this is going to translate into a judge actually listening to her nonsense. Listen, if a judge didn't listen to your nonsense before the pandemic, before you were appearing via a Zoom conference,
Yeah.
you think they're going to listen to you now? No, they'll just put you on mute.
Well, actually, I think she keeps on saying her internet isn't working very well, so that she won't be able to zoom in because her internet doesn't work very well. I
that's
see her
gonna be the
preparing.
excuse,
I have to
right?
thank a few of our donors from tonight.
Please do.
Yes, West Sider said thank you for everything you do, and very generous.
Welcome.
Generous.
You're
from,
welcome.
From Domingo.
Oh, Domingo Hernandez.
Oh yes.
And
Domingo.
he says, time to trigger la come mierda. Thank you, Cindy and Duke. Keep up the awesome work. Domingo, I hate to break it to you, but Paloma doesn't believe you exist. She thinks you are not real. She actually posted on her page, Domingo Hernandez, así o más ridículos. Haha, I'm Josefina Perez, and I'm Ecuadorian. So she believes that you are a made-up person, a fake account that sends the money that I send it back. And this is a transaction that is
That's right.
taking place.
Yeah, we thank everyone who supports us. Thank you very much for the support. She obviously doesn't know how AdSense works. You need an AdSense account too. They're the ones who want all the information about your Social Security number, or you do a TIN form. You have to be accountable for the money that comes in. But thank you all for contributing to our work.
Paloma doesn't believe you're real, but Domingo, I know you're real. I know, and I appreciate very much. And you sure do trigger her. She has not been able to work it out. She's now posting about you on her page because it enrages her so. But let me share. Oh my gosh, Mary Tando, thank you. Paloma tells the judge, I think I'm a millionaire. If I were, I'd give $1 million. Oh, Mary.
That's great.
Well, you know what? It just takes good people standing up to bullies. That's what it takes. And Mary Tando was one of the first people that did it with grace, with she just
Honesty
and sincerity that it permeates. A lot of the people that came forward came because Mary spoke out. So I am very grateful for her. Legal Latino, thank you.
Wow.
Legal Latino Heat says, thank you, Cindy and Duke. If Trump loses, it's Paloma for Trump's fault. Don't forget to send me these $100 that I donated back. You got it, Legal.
Yes. We'll put it in an envelope, a brown envelope.
Yes, at our secret location.
Yep.
In the meeting room, right?
Right.
So take a look at what she says at the bottom of the first page of this complaint. Take a look. Miss Quintanilla filmed herself after her friend Nicole requested to pull me out of the green room at the event, claiming to security that she was a fan who wanted to meet me, only to serve me with a temporary restraining order 37-2020-00002657 issued by this court by Honorable Justice Daniel F. Link. Both women stayed on premises until being removed by the security company and later the San Diego Police Department. Lies.
Yep.
Lies. None of this is true. But she thinks that because the judge is not going to check any of this stuff because none of it's really relevant or admissible, that she can just write it into this document. She probably shows these documents that she files in court to all of her unsuspecting and naive followers, all 10 of them that are left, and she shows that to them to let them know that she's for real. Look, she put this in a court document. Must be true. Has to be true. And she goes on. After being removed from the venue, that never happened, Ms. Quintanilla remained in her car in front of the main door for approximately an hour, photographing the people inside the event through a glass window and filming myself and others to upload these videos to her page to prove that I had been served and that I would be put in jail for being a criminal. According to her statement, this temporary restraining order was her pathway to putting me in jail. And then she adds, I have never been arrested and have an impeccable criminal record.
Background.
Oh, sorry. I have an impeccable criminal background.
I have the best criminal background ever.
Do you? Do you have a really great criminal background?
Yep.
Is it notorious? Raúl, buenas noches. Bienvenido. Muchas gracias. Raúl Valencia donated $10, as did Alex Martinez. Here's another fake contribution, says Alex.
We'll get it right back to you.
Yep, with the blink of an eye. She is so astonished that people around this country, everywhere where she has left victims in the wake of her destruction, she doesn't believe that those people want to see justice. She thinks that everyone that she has attacked, their children, their grandchildren, stalked them, made them lose their jobs, made them change telephone numbers, made them move from their addresses, damaged their relationships, their marriages. She thinks all those people attacked their kids. She thinks all of those people are just going to go away. And that's not even taking into account all of the things that she has posted through her fake pages. Remember, Oscar and Anthony told you she had all these fake pages which she was attacking people with? Here's just a small list from the Pendaja for Trump page. Disclaimer, this is not me. I have nothing to do with Pendaja for Trump page, but they did list all of these other people's pages, her pages, which she attacks people. Hate pages, FCons, Dr. Phil, episode on Paloma for Trump, Conservative Truth, East Coast MAGA Pervert, East Coast MAGA Stalker, East Coast MAGA Rejects. These were just on Facebook. I stopped following her around the time that she went mental on Amy and Melinda. Now I only see her when others post or share videos about her. The drunk video clips have kept me laughing all week. She is ridiculous. And Pendaja for Trump posted that with this comment. Sue them. Hire a private investigator. Lamau, what's wrong? You don't like people playing your games? Not to mention your personal page, your Paloma for Trump page, your personal Instagram, your FCons Instagram, your FCons YouTube channel, the page that you made for the Brazilian, the page that you made for Melinda, and the list goes on and on. Exactly. She projects. Remember that. She projects what she does, and she doesn't like that other people have pages that parody, that make light of the things that she says and does. Here's another post from Pendaja for Trump. They won't leave me alone, and I'm tired of it, quoting Paloma's post. Damn right we won't, Pendaja for Trump's page says. You come out of the blue disrespecting all of us, stole our photos and warped them. You thought it was funny to create alter ego accounts on 3 social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, barely knowing at the time who any of us were. All you knew was some questioned your true motives. Some confronted you on your unnecessary harassment of innocent conservatives, and some were just true supporters that you made up as opponents. And just like that, we all became your next meme for weeks. You didn't think it was funny anymore, huh? Why not? We were not doormats that you could say and do what you wanted to us and then let it go like you hoped so you could move on to your next joke. That's where you messed up. Sometimes the consequences of your actions come with long-term effects. Every single person, especially the mothers who you had mocking their children, who have nothing to do with your hatred, will not let it go. We will continue to fight to expose the sickness and evil intent and crooked character that you are until you eventually stop harassing people, period. If you can't do that, consider this a long-time war. Sincerely, everyone. Of course, it's unfathomable to Paloma that after harming, harassing, threatening, stalking, and spending all of her free time, which is all day long, posting horrible things on the internet about people, she doesn't even know that she could just go about her day. Unfortunately, she has harmed so many people. She has multiple court dates awaiting her and multiple pages mocking her. Here's page 2. Here's what she said about the day she was served. I was officially served at 5:25, at which point I sent a text message to my friend who was outside watching our car because Mary Tando, along with others such as Anthony Agüero, Michael Shapiro, Fabiana Baldo, Oscar Ramirez, and other pro-Trump activists have been mob stalking me for over a year and a half. Mob stalking. What on earth is that? Either on social media or in person, as they did at this rally and also in El Paso, Texas, at another one of my public speaking engagements. What is mob stalking?
Well, there's a New York Times article. I don't have a screenshot of it for you tonight, but you just write in mob stalking, New York Times. It talks about it's a psychosis that people have, a paranoia. But it's actually it's something that people make up because they think everybody's against them. So every time I see her bring that up, I always think about that article. It talks about it just being a psychosis, that she's just pretty much. It's a delusion? It's a delusion, yes.
It's a symptom of a psychosis?
Yes.
To claim that people are mob stalking you?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yep.
That absolutely makes complete and total sense. Okay, back to the script here. So this is page 2 of 5 of the restraining order request that she made against Mary Tando Quintanilla, which will be heard in about a week. It says, they have made public threats of tampering with my car. They? Who they? All of these people, Anthony Agüero, Michael Shapiro, Fabiana Baldo, Oscar Ramirez, and other pro-Trump activists unnamed, and Mary Tando, all of them, they all took pictures of your car, of your vehicle, of your license plate number, and put them on social media pages. They all tampered with your car. That's what she's alleging here. Unless she doesn't understand what English words mean in the way that she's put them together in these sentences and paragraphs, that is what that says. It is an outright lie. She has absolutely no proof of it. But again, I don't think she cares because she's just a nuisance stalking, with harassing with these bogus requests for restraining orders, all of the people that she is upset with for one reason or another. Please see screenshot of text messages with timestamps between myself and my friend where I let her know the stalkers had come to serve me at 5:26 p.m. That's not admissible. It won't be admissible. None of this stuff is admissible. When the San Diego Police Department arrived, Miss Quintanilla was in her car waiting along with her partner, Nicole Shaw, and her disabled adult granddaughter, who'd been in the car for over 2 hours. Her disabled adult granddaughter, whom she is full custody of and gets paid for by the state to take care of, and who is not able to walk and wears adult diapers. Myself and others found it extremely disturbing Miss Quintanilla would put a disabled person through such unnecessary stress for the sole purpose of waiting for myself to come outside so she could provoke me after having served me with a restraining order, where she claims to be absolutely terrified of me, as well as being terrified for her granddaughter's safety from me. Miss Quintanilla lives approximately 50 miles away from Chula Vista Church, where my event took place. She drove 50 miles to an event to not only herself serve, film, mock, and humiliate the person she claims is a threat to her, but also stayed outside waiting until being removed by San Diego Police Department or being charged with trespassing if the owner of the venue requested it. This was all in her imagination. None of this happened. In August of 2019, in an unprecedented and unprovoked attack on a video radio show, Miss Quintanilla spent 2 hours in front of an audience accusing me of the most disturbing, humiliating, defamatory things I have ever heard, none of which she has any proof of, but herself and others collaborated in these orchestrated public attacks. I had never had any negative public interaction with her to cause for her to attack me this way on social media and in front of an audience of almost 100,000 people, as her friend and collaborator, Anthony Agüero, posted her public attacks of me on his Facebook platform with over 100,000 followers, majorly and falsely tarnishing my name and reputation. The only interaction I had with her had been private. When a few months prior to this unfounded attack, I ended our brief friendship. I blocked her from all means of communication, phone, WhatsApp, Facebook, text messaging. As a nice gesture under some pressure, I helped Miss Quintanilla watch her adult granddaughter a couple of times. Yes, remember what happened when she watched the adult granddaughter? She filmed herself being verbally abusive to her, shaming her for wanting to have her adult diaper changed, and threatening to let her do it by herself, knowing that this nonverbal adult disabled woman cannot change her own diaper because Paloma was left in charge of caring for her. That's what happened during that interaction. Now, let me show you the next document here. This is from her previous court date where she tried to get a restraining order against Mary, which was dismissed. The judge threw this out, this request for restraining order, and he had to shut Paloma up numerous times. And he tells her, it's my turn to talk. Everybody wants to say their 2 cents, but that's not the purpose of the court. The court isn't here to let everybody. It's not a therapy session, okay? It's not intended for people to be able to just get off their minds or get off their chests something. The question is whether or not there's proof. Yeah. So you're not supposed to just go into court. Obviously, what Paloma does is she goes into court. She blurts out and blabs, yep. I have a restraining order. I'm doing this. I have that. And the court says, that's not admissible.
Yep.
Or they mute her. They have to shut her down because she thinks this is her own personal playground where she can go and just rattle off whatever is on the top of her head. Here's the conclusion. The court said the court is not convinced by clear and convincing evidence that it's intended to seriously harass you. So all the things she brought up that day in court, I'm not going to go through all of it today because I want to keep this reasonably short. But the conclusion was there is no serious intention of harassment toward you. One of the elements that had to be met was that there was a serious intent to harass you. You didn't prove that in court. And then he goes on to say about Mary, I think the respondent, Mary, seriously believes that she's being honest and truthful. You know why? You know why the judge thinks that Mary believes she's being sincerely honest and truthful? Because she is.
Yep.
Because she is sincerely being honest and truthful about her opinions. And that's what the judge said. That's what the judge concluded. He said, and that she is expressing her opinions. This request you made of a restraining order, this is now starting to fly in the face of the First Amendment in terms of people having to say things. You know what that means? It means that Miss Rah Sis Boom Ba, law and order, follow the laws of America while she snipes American citizens from Mexico with these bogus and nuisance restraining order requests. She was told, you are not credible. This woman, Mary Tando, she has the right to her opinion. She sincerely and firmly believes the things that she said about you. And she has every right to say them because of her First Amendment rights to free speech. That's what you're trying to stop. Paloma's trying to use our justice system to take away the free speech rights of people like Mary Tando. And the judge was not having it. Take a look. This is what he said. He continues, the fact that she, Mary, had discussed or stated that you were possibly a pedophile was based on the fact of incidences that were talked about within this conversation of you making statements about 16-year-olds. And then Paloma jumps in and starts to shut the judge up. She has the nerve to try to silence the judge in this case, Duke. And she says, I never did that. I understand, but The court says, please. The judge says to her, please. And she insists on talking over the judge. She has absolutely no self-control over her mouth in court or otherwise. She cannot listen to authority. She does not respect authority. She says about Mary, she makes stuff up. And the judge says, just listen to me. This is her belief. This is what, and then at this point, Paloma is sitting there shaking her head at the judge. She can't shut up even after the judge told her to stop. She has to keep shaking her head. So the judge is talking to her. Just listen to me. This is Mary's belief. This is what ma'am, stop shaking your head. The judge has to tell her to physically restrain her head. And then Paloma speaks over the judge. She doesn't believe it. She's trying to tell the judge what Mary believes and doesn't believe. Can you freaking believe that? The judge comes back to her. Ma'am, stop fighting with me. This is for you to listen. I am trying to explain my ruling to you. Paloma, The judge, okay, I'm telling you, this is what she believes.
Wow.
Mary has a right to her belief and her opinion. The judge, by the way, had to listen to a whole bunch of my show interviewing Mary. And he did. He went into chambers. This took all day. He reviewed everything meticulously, only to send her with her tail between her legs. She goes on. He tells her, I am telling you, this is what Mary believes. Whether it's true or not may be a different story. But this is what Mary believes, okay? Whether or not there's a legitimate purpose in the act, I can't tell because there's so much history that's going on between both of you that her, basically opining about what she feels about you may be legitimate. What Mary thinks about you based on her experience of you may be true. I don't know, says the judge. It's your burden, Paloma, to show that it's not legitimate. And you haven't met that burden. And I don't think you're going to meet that burden. So basically, to summarize what happened here, Paloma was in the middle of talking for the 7th or 8th hour in the day, wasting this judge's time. And he just stopped her and said, please shut up now. It's my turn to talk. This wasn't supposed to be a therapy session. I'm not going to let you go on any further because you don't have any evidence. You don't have any proof. You don't have anything that looks like harassment or sounds like harassment. And guess what? What you're complaining about is Mary's right to her own opinion about you based on her experience of you and the things you said about a 16-year-old boy. And you know what? She might be right. I don't know. It was your burden to prove that she's lying about you, and you didn't do that. You failed. And in this other document, she says, the judge says, I have indications that the respondent believes that you're stating things about her, that Mary says you're talking about her. She's stating things about you to me. Sounds like two people that just really dislike each other, that are completely immature and don't know how to process their feelings or deal with these situations, okay? That's what it looks like to me. So ultimately, are these credible threats and acts of violence? I don't think so. Are they credible civil harassment? I don't think so. So you just wasted the court's time, and she doesn't have a problem doing it again.
Yep.
She doesn't have any respect for the American court system or the American justices that are hearing these cases. She makes fun of the fact that people have to go and appear in court and answer all these bogus, ridiculous claims and waste money and pay for attorneys and get babysitters for their adult disabled granddaughters in order to go to court in a different city, all so that she can have a good laugh at their expense, at Mary, at the judge, at everyone involved. That's how she gets her yayas off. She can't win a real case in court. She doesn't have any evidence or proof of anything that she says. She makes things up out of whole cloth. She blames the latest victim for everything that she's been doing to people for years. Here's what the transcript from the past case, which was thrown out, said. The court overruled her objection in something that she tried to submit, which was that so-called police report. It wasn't a police report. It was an incident report. It wasn't complete. And this is what the judge said when she tried to enter it into evidence. He said, I'm going to tell you why. He said, let me tell you, it's not really informative to me, and I'm going to tell you why. The police report is redacted. It appears to be cut off, so I don't get the whole police report. And Paloma says, I have it on email. Court says, ma'am, stop. Okay? I'm talking. I told you one at a time, please. Okay? So I'm telling you my ruling. I'm not going, I will accept this into evidence. I'm just saying I have a problem with it because it's cut off, number one. Number two, it's redacted, meaning that there are certain information that's blacked out that I cannot see. And I don't know if the comment section that's referring to the female leaving is referring to the person that's above. Okay? That piece of evidence, yoink, out the door. Useless. How about the other one? She tried to use a witness in the form of a voice recording, a recording from one of her witnesses at the event explaining the way that Mary was behaving at the event. She would like to play it. The judge says, Okay, I'm not going to do that. That witness needs to be here. Paloma says, they're afraid. The judge says, I'm sorry if she's afraid and she can't come to court. Paloma says, it's actually a man. The court says, ma'am, please. I cannot accept the witness if I don't have them here. It's not fair to the other party. They can't cross-examine that person. Paloma, okay. The judge, okay? There's a certain amount of hearsay that I can accept, and in this particular case, I'm not going to accept this because I find it unreliable. Okay? So he's like, look, this is a court in which I can sometimes hear hearsay. In other courts, they will not accept hearsay at all. I can usually accept some amount of hearsay, but this is a load of crap I cannot accept. Please, for the love of God, understand it. Can you tell how frustrated this judge is?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So this is the part where she tried to have him watch all of these different timestamps on the show. And you know my shows can be long. Take a look. These are all the timestamps that she had: 1540, 1628, 17, 1807, 1855, 2220. If I might just specify, she talks about human smugglers. That's the people that she's talking about. The judge, ma'am, just the time. Paloma, 2232, 23, 2322, 2659, 4040, 4150. She goes on and on and on. Hour minute 01, hour minute 00 second 8. Hour 00 second 23, hour 00 second 31. Like every single second of my show was analyzed by the court. The judge says, okay, now, ma'am, the respondent, we haven't dropped the issue of jurisdiction, so we'll address that in a second. And then he asks Paloma, ma'am, where do you live? And she says, in Mexico. Note that she lives in Mexico. Just saying. Mm-hmm. Just saying. So there is no credible threat. She also tried to hide the fact that she's had multiple restraining orders and even a warrant out for her arrest. She just thought that by saying, I never allowed anyone to serve me with the notification of those items, including the arrest warrant, that she could get away with acknowledging that they exist. Take a look. So Mary asks her, and are you aware that Michael Shapiro has a restraining order on you as well as Fabiana? She said, no, I was never served. Judge, next question. Mary, are you aware that there was a psychological evaluation required from a judge in Shapiro's hearing over a year ago? Now that you... And she says, no, I was never served. Mary says, are you aware that there's a warrant out for your arrest right now pertaining to the Domestic Prevention Violence Act out of New Jersey? It's all pertaining to Shapiro, she says. Paloma says, I was never served. And the judge jumps in to clarify. The judge says, ma'am, let me backtrack a little because of the way you answered that. I don't know if you're answering the question. I know you may never have been served. Let's go to the next screen. I know you may never have been served. The question is, do you know if there's a warrant for your arrest? And she tries to start going down a different avenue. The court goes, no. And then Paloma says, yes, I do. Wah, wah, wah. Oh my God. It was like pulling teeth just to get her to answer the simple question. I have not been served. I have not been served. I keep running. I run. I hide.
Yeah.
But the judge picked up on your lies and said, wait a minute. You know you have other restraining orders. You know there's a warrant out for your arrest. Don't ya? Mm-hmm. Don't you? Yes, I do. And then here's another Little tidbit for next show, okay? This is a little taste of what's to come in my upcoming show because it's a long list of things that are in this request for restraining order that I've got to cover. So here's a little teaser for the next time, guys. Miss Quintanilla, along with her friend Anthony Oweto, Michael Shapiro, her friend Fabiana Baldo, and many others who support their group, have spent months harassing me on social media non-stop, with the most recent attacks being by Mr. Anthony Oweto on July 10, 2020. Disturbing, Anthony Oweto on July 2020 promoting their page by the name Pendaja for Trump. So Pendaja for Trump is now the page of Mary, Anthony, Michael, and Fabiana. And I guess it's also my page. It's everyone's page. The attacks are nonstop, disturbing to the point that it has majorly affected me, my work, my personal life, and I've had to seek not only people to protect me physically from their stalking at events, but have had to go through counseling over the last 12 months and also seek legal counsel. That's not how you spell counsel. Yeah. And they have found it hilarious to file for restraining orders claiming threats, as their social media attacks have been mostly ignored, and they use each other, all friends, and with groups dedicated to me, as proof for each other's cases. They all collaborate from different states.
Wow. There's lots of masterminds, I guess.
Yes, lots of intellectual actors. But none as bad as of an actor as she. And this isn't a theater or a D-list movie that you had a small part in. This is a court of law. The judge will see through your nonsense and through your lies. I will make sure and dissect every piece of this even before your next court hearing so that everyone can see how you deceive. Oh, the tangle web you weave when first you practiced to deceive. Here on A Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You've been listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. God bless and good night to everyone.